home game. Sorry, this away game for St Kilda.
Yeah, even more impressive for Riewoldt to captain that many games in an era where clubs often have co-captains, switch captains around every couple of years. So really quite phenomenal, and just shows Gold Coast native is Nick Riewoldt, and just shows what a champion of the game he is, as is Gary Ablett there, the Suns legend on screen. And we're just a few seconds away from game time now on the Gold Coast.
Well, it'll certainly be a tale of two captains today. They've both been under a little bit of an injury cloud this week. Big games, want to lead their team for their first win for the year. So let's see how we go.
Rodney Eade there on screen, the Suns coach, formerly coach of Sydney and the Bulldogs.
And definitely known for a little bit of animation in the coaching box, Nadav. Seen over time a few explosions from Rodney Eade. His nickname is Rocket, so it'll be interesting to see if he can keep his cool today. And bang, we straight into it. We see the St Kilda players go into Gary Ablett there. That's Jaron Geary from St Kilda. And this could be a heated start to the game, Nadav.
Yeah, Bennell and Geary there as well. Bennell just getting in there to defend Ablett.
Interesting to see Ablett not start in the middle of the ground. You expect him to be right in there from the start. So it's an interesting move by Eade to start off with. Yeah,
might be a way to shrug off the tag of Mav Weller as the first tap is hit down by Longer for St Kilda, straight down to Swallow. Prestia just slips at the crucial moment. Weller there we talked about getting in. Now Ablett rides the tackle from Longer, comes out to Prestia. Has a teammate there in Riscatelli. Had a good game last week going wide, but just a bit too far for Jack Martin. Hits the boundary.
Well, the positive start there. Gary Ablett in with the first effective possession, even though it was a 5-metre kick. He still certainly got it out for the Gold Coast players and got them going. But yes, a very interesting tactical move there by Eade to start him out of the goal square, out of the centre square, sorry, to try and perhaps give him running a little bit more and not get that direct attention at the start of the game.
Another stoppage. Longer again with the advantage. Interesting, just one ruckman for each team, so they'll be doing a lot of work. Longer and his opponent, Zach Smith, as Ahmed Saad comes up with it, wrapped up straight away by May. Scrappy start, Prestia now. Riscatelli's there over Weller, and ball comes out to Bennell. He's going to be an important player today for Gold Coast as Ablett from an impossible angle. And just the one behind.
Well, he can do the freakish things, Gary Ablett, and it'll be reassuring for Gold Coast fans to see him get a couple of early kicks early. A very interesting point there at that last stoppage, Nadav, was Nick Riewoldt all the way down from centre half forward was actually around that stoppage. So interesting that St Kilda and Alan Richardson, their coach, pushing some of their players up the ground straight away. And indeed, here he is taking a mark on the half-back flank. So he is known for his exceptional endurance and running ability. Start the game already down in the defensive half. He'll be blowing some wind by the end of the game.
Free kick there for St Kilda, going against Nick Malcheski, the Sydney Premiership player. And it's going to Jack Loney, the second gamer. Out of Dandenong, Jack Loney, and Saad just failing to take the mark there as it goes over the boundary line.
As we look at Ablett just getting tackled and on the game, again it's on that sore shoulder, and just getting a bit of extra work there from Longer as well. He's had a lot of time to rehabilitate that shoulder, but it's interesting to see he still certainly is a bit troubled by it. As here he is, pick up the ball, Riewoldt.
Yep, there he is. There he is, Ablett just smothered by Riewoldt. The two champs going at it. Now coming up with a Jack Martin. Riscatelli. Oh, didn't have much space to kick it. Lynch under it. Oh, his first game back this season, and almost got a knock there from Armitage. And whose boot does it come off? Looks like it's going to be a St Kilda ball.
Unlucky there for Lynch.
In fact,
I think it's been overturned.
Yep, it's been overturned, so it must have come off Armitage. Harley Bennell. He's one of the players that Gold Coast will really need to take that extra step this year if they're going to play finals.
He's a renowned goal kicker, Bennell, and he can do some pretty crafty things with the football. It'll be interesting to see if he goes for what the South Australians call a check side. So he goes for a left foot snap over the shoulder.
And he's just missed it as well.
Well, positive start for the Gold Coast here. They've had the first couple of forward entries. St Kilda's skills have been a little bit sloppy. They've missed a few kicks coming out of that half-back line, which is really that crucial kick that you need to set up the play moving forward. They're looking a little bit better here as the ball comes to Armitage.
Yep, off to Jaron Geary now, playing that half-back wing role that he played so well in the last couple of years. Gets it off to Dempster, another former Swan. Malcheski, in fact, to his former teammate there, Malcheski gets it down to Rischitelli. Malcheski again using that experience. Swallow now can't quite pick it up cleanly. Saad with a good tackle.
Good pressure from Saad. Richardson will like that, having some forward pressure. As we see that replay, and I'm not quite sure that went on the full, did it, Nadav? It looks like it might have bounced. The whole ball has to be over the line to be out on the full, but lucky it didn't do too much damage for the Saints.
Oh, Saad again. So he's been busy early. Should mention, by the way, the subs, Nathan Wright coming in late for Adam Schneider for St Kilda, and Adam Saad, no relation of Ahmed Saad, playing his second game as well for St Kilda. For the Gold Coast, rather. And
of course, Saad spent some time out of football after having an unfortunate incident with an energy drink that he took, that he bought from a physical performance shop, which was deemed to have an illegal substance in. So it's great to see him back playing AFL football. St Kilda have kept the faith, and we'll see him line up for his goal now.
Yep, Saad, second game back after that 18-month layoff. That long run-up that he was known for back then. And it hasn't helped him this time, much to the delight of the Gold Coast crowd.
As you can see, quite a lot of physicality between both teams early. After Saad had missed that goal, a few Gold Coast players just came up and gave him a few bumps early. Rodney Eade was known as an aggressive Dow defender in his time, and just wonder whether he's trying to get these young Gold Coast players to play with a bit more aggression, a bit more front, especially up in their home ground.
Smith comes up with his first touch for the game now. Prestia, Ablett, Gold Coast top midfielders all combining. Harborough now the 150th gamer gets it off to Kolodajny. Kolodajny with some pace. Has Prestia as well, has come down the ground looking for Day there, and just way too wide.
Rodney Eade barking some instructions there from the coach's box. He'd be relatively happy with the Gold Coast in these first few entries. But we just need to consolidate.
Martin ball evading him. Shenton, Smith down there, playing like a rover. Shenton, been known to play a bit of midfield. Shenton might get some more. Might see him getting some more game through the middle today, as Harbrow just evades Nunes really nicely as well, and with some pace. But Nunes, what persistence!
Fantastic tackle by Nunes. Absolutely brilliant desperation. Harbrow's very quick and stepped in the first time, but fantastic second effort by Nunes, and that'll lift his players.
So Delaney gets it off to Savage, and now Dunstan. They'll be looking for a bigger performance from players like him today, the Saints, as he gets it off to his captain in Rewald off that left foot. And Saad again, really busy early. This time he surely will kick his first, and he does.
Well, a fantastic goal by Saad, and all set up by that tackle from Jack Nunes. Fantastic defensive play, brilliant tackle, executed it well as we see it on the replay. Didn't get into Harbrow's back, which you can sometimes do, chasing from behind, and that's just fantastic. Set up the play from half-back. Revolt with a quick roll on his non-preferred left foot, and Saad just in a fantastic place. Read that much better than his opponent and bang, straight through the middle.
And with him out last year and Stephen Milne's retirement, you could really see that gap caused by Milne not being there. So they'll be looking for Saad to play. Well, if you can kick even a quarter of the goals Milne kicked in his career, they'll be happy.
Absolutely, and they made a statement this week by dropping Eli Templeton, who's another forward pocket who they rate very highly, but didn't get a game this week.
As Dunstan gets it out of the centre straight away again. Good start from the Saints. Saad creating another contest again against Saad, in fact. And in fact, it's Jared Garlett should apologise, who started the sub for Gold Coast. So the two Saads appear to be actually matching up on each other, as Stephen gets tackled by Swallow, and out Longer with the big body comes in. Hallahan has him tackled. Might be a free kick to Gold Coast. Weller just infringing there on Saad. So we see Ablett getting ready to come back on. So the two Saads in it early. Adam Saad, this is for Gold Coast. Malcheski, clever little tap. And not sure where that ball was going, but it's come off for Seb Tape, who's really come down from defence there. Martin, also busy early on the non-favoured foot, looking for Ben Olo once again. No favours being done there for the Gold Coast forwards, and out of bounds.
Yeah, he does have some silky skills, Jack Martin. He just tried to almost scoop that ball up to give it a bit of air for Bennell to run onto, but as fast as Bennell is, not quite quick enough. We start again.
Smith this time, front position, Prestia with a chance. Oh, he's just not brought that far round enough. Shenton kicks it out. And Sam Fisher, 200th gamer that we discussed earlier. And St Kilda to the wing. Nice kick, finds Nunes. Nunes to Rewalt again. Same combination that set up that first goal. Rewalt will certainly be giving May a test of endurance. And Curran, 2013 rookie, elevation, sees it over the boundary line.
As we watched Seb Taper came back into the team this week, he's an interesting story as well now. They've played in that inaugural team in 2011, but he's been in and out since then, and he's a medium-sized defender who aren't always first pick, but he's known by Rocket Eade as a in and under tough, reliable player, and that was commented on this week that they needed some reliable hard bodies, so Tape's got another opportunity to impress this week.
This is Billings on the ground, his first game back in, highly regarded youngster. Finds Josh Bruce there, it looks like. In fact, Bruce doing a bit of the reserve rucking, just giving Longer some relief as Prestia's handball misses its mark. Curran off the ground, just hugging the boundary line here, the ball in the Saints forward line.
Interesting to see Robertson matching up on Ablett. Just some vision there. Robertson knows that half back, so it may be that St Kilda have decided to roll a couple of players off Ablett, such as his endurance and his pace, that they don't think that Weller can handle on his own, but we'll see how that plays out during the game. Weller certainly more suited to the midfield role over Robertson, so it may be that Richardson just waits to see where Ablett plays, and he's certainly up the ground as a forward now. And you can see that huge, vast amount of space. Ablett essentially playing the one-on-one full forward role. It's interesting to see now as we have a fast kick come out, the fast break for Gold Coast.
Yeah, the Ablett paddock, you could call it, as the Saints get it back. Delaney going back to Robertson there that we talked about, the ex-Docker. Hits up Saints teammate there, and oh, he's had a shot at it, but it's going to fall short, and Broaden comes across now. Sard, oh, sneaky again. Gets it out to Bruce. And another minor score.
Both sides missing a few opportunities to really make their mark on the scoreboard early. It's 5 behinds now, plus a couple of they've missed to either side. Just need to let these nerves settle.
Now Chesky often does kick to himself, often did when he was playing in red and white for Sydney, as Martin come well down the ground for a kick, and he's got pace to burn, but bizarrely didn't even seem to see Robertson coming there at him. Good tackle, sets it up for Savage. Now Thompson over the top. In there as well is Lemons, his first game for the year. Jack Loney as well, Sard over him. Oh, tempers really flaring here early in the game.
Bizarre here by Martin. He almost, I don't know what he was expecting there, but he was very much concentrating, having his eyes down for the bounce of the ball, and didn't see Robertson come in and clean him up.
Yep, certainly the sort of mistake that the younger players will make. They'll certainly clean that out of his game eventually, as Fisher puts the Saints forward again into the danger zone. And Martin sees it out. So sloppy start, it must be said, for the Suns. Really continuing on from the worrying form of last week. We did expect them to come out of the blocks quicker than St Kilda, especially on home turf. It's Smith this time trying to get something going for the Suns. Armitage couldn't pick it up. Membry threw it out. Now Dunstan to Robertson. Oh, he's tackled by Martin, trying to make amends for that last play. Nunes now might actually be called a throw. In fact, looks like it's going to go to Swallow. Yep, high contact there, I think.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of sloppy work there. Arm just came over the shoulder. Not a lot of contact in it, but enough to get the free kick. And you mentioned a sloppy start now. They've both teams going at under 50% for their disposal efficiency. And for the elite AFL teams, that's not where they need to be. So they need to really pick that up in this second half. And some interesting movement from Gold Coast here.
No, and the Suns with 301 touches last week, a league low, so 50% efficiency from, well, a low amount of touches. You can all do the calculations at home.
Took Miller on screen there, made his debut last year after being drafted at the end of 2014. A few new players in both sides to start off with for the season 2015. A few debutants, and it's good to have that young injection into the team. But
yeah, as Ablett throws it out to Miller there, who we talked about, and now Delaney cleans up for St Kilda. Back to Nunes. He's been good so far. And Lee Thompson to the ball there was Membry, as Riewoldt looks to be a little hurt there. Had some worries last week as well, didn't he, Tom?
Yeah, that's concerning, Nada. We just saw him tackle Ablett there and just looks as if he's got almost pins and needles in that left shoulder. I worry if that's something with his spine or his neck from that whiplash incident last week. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, Suns with another chance here. They were looking for Day. Closest to the ball was Sexton there in front of Savage. So you see Riewoldt once again on screen.
It certainly is a concern, because sometimes with these upper back, lower neck injuries, they're not necessarily present all the time, but if you do get a small knock, they can really flare up, and Riewoldt certainly looks to be in a lot of trouble at the moment. So
Shenton, quick kick out, didn't really go more than a few metres. Prestia now out to possibly Harbrow. We'll get a look at that in a second. In fact, Kolodajny. Robertson now for St Kilda.
Again, that kick out of half-back just doesn't hit the target. Disappointing for the St Kilda players. They really need to get that right to really get their play moving from the defensive half.
Hallahan, that man we just saw on screen, another of the Gold Coast recruits, came over from Hawthorn. Very tough to get a game in the Hawks midfield. Impressive so far in Suns colours as he puts them into the danger zone. Savage is going to get to it. Day as well in there, and Lynch, the two tall Gold Coast players, as Delaney has him tackled.
Good spoil there from Fisher. He's known as a really fun intercept marked, and he made the decision to leave his player in Sam Day, go and spoil that contest as the third man up, and was effective in doing so. So good from him to help out the other young St Kilda defenders. Smith
over the top. Prestia now. What can he conjure up? Ablett. Oh, they're going to wear him closely. Geary was with him. Bennell, very impressive through traffic and round his body. Might almost go through. Wow, impressive goal.
Fantastic kick from Bennell. Again, the snap over the shoulder. It's a hard kick to pull off from 40 metres, and he's managed to send it straight through. Davey Armitage comes up and says, you're not going to get another easy one like that. But as we watch him sitting outside, again, as Gary Ablett sets him up with a goal assist, as he does so often, and Bennell, well, from nearly 50 metres, has popped that through on his right. But it's a fantastic goal, and first.
Yeah, around his body. Really didn't look like it till the last second there, Harley Bennell. A huge amount of potential this player has. Had a couple of huge disposal games as well, so can run through the midfield when called upon.
We see his stats there. He's already had 3 shots on goal just in this first quarter, so if he can kick them like he did that last one, he'll be really dangerous, and St Kilda need to put some attention into him.
Yep, as Longer brings it out, has Sinclair, in fact, another second gamer coming through, looking for Saad. The target there of so many forward forays today, but it's Sean Lemons back with it for Gold Coast. Target now is Martin. Nunes with him.
Strong
Good mark from Jack Martin. And to play on very quickly, Broaden. Now Harbrow. Oh, hits up Riscatelli. Hallahan, some really good movement now from the Suns. Back to Riscatelli. Should kick the Suns second, and does.
Classy finish there from Riscatelli. Kicked 2 last week, and another really good one. Suns with a bit of momentum. It was the quick play. Lemons took a fantastic mark. And just from end to end, fantastic. 2 goals in the space of a minute and a half. And the Suns are now up and about and pushed out to an 8-point lead.
Yep, just really quick play on footy, the sort of footy that Rodney Eade would like to have them playing. Riscatelli, another player they'll need to see lift, came over in their first season from Brisbane. Probably didn't have the output he had for the Lions in the first couple of seasons with their Queensland rivals, but pretty big game last week, and more of the same today, judging by the stats. In fact, he's had 10 touches, so he's top of the leaderboard at the moment, as Smith starting to get on top in the ruck stakes. Now, Gold Coast once again with a dangerous forward foray. Geary couldn't take the mark. Ablett They're dangerous when Ablett's around to drop a mark. Dempster tackled by Miller. Ablett there, Robertson right with him. Ablett, can't get a... Well, he's not going to get a free kick today from the Saints, that's for sure.
Yeah, some good ball-looking work from both teams in there. Good pressure at ground level. That's what both coaches want to see. And it's Geary now on Ablett, so they're certainly rolling through a few different players on Gary Ablett while he's playing in that forward role.
Yeah, Prestia out. May surely tackled without it. Nothing coming from the umpire. Lemon's in there as well. Cleared by Jack Stephen, being quiet early, the Dynamo midfielder, as Smith gets down again to ground level. Swallow can't get a clean kick. Martin might. Shrugs a well a tackle. Geez, impressive so far today, Martin. And Miller goes down, and now Dunstan to clear for St Kilda. Finds his captain in Rewalt. Good to see him back on the ground, looking healthy. Stephen once again. Need him to lift the Saints midfielder. Has Bruce running for him. Goes instead to the captain in Rewalt. Puts him forward. Is Saad the target again? No. This time it's Membry there, it looks like. Couldn't quite take the mark.
Well, a nice little show of why Alan Richardson wants Nick Rewalt up the ground there. He started at that stoppage and managed to roll over his opponent. Rewalt ended up on Jack Martin. Rory Thompson, Rewalt's direct opponent, ended up on Jack Stephen. Rewalt ends up getting 2 possessions as he crosses over onto a smaller player, and some smart work there by the St Kilda players. And Thompson's going to be on his game to be able to keep up with Revolt's endurance and pace throughout the game. Yeah,
Harbrow just slipping in the last moment, gave the Saints the opportunity. And it's Bruce, Josh Bruce, some spectacular play there to get the Saints second.
Fantastic goal from Bruce. Unbelievable. I think that was on his non-preferred as well. One bounce, half volley. I'll tell you what, the Champions League boys will be pretty happy with that as well.
Yeah, and Bruce, the highlights reel last week, pulled down what could be an early contender for Mark of the Year against GWS.
I think we might have... I think it was Dunstan.
Looks like it's actually Dunstan.
Young South Australian midfielder, quickest up off his feet, and... Oh, it's fantastic skill.
So Dunstan's the highlight reel then. Maybe we'll expect some high marking from him as well.
Well, he's certainly got a lot of pressure on his shoulders, Dunstan. He was an early draft pick, debuted last year, had a fantastic year, and you saw his contested possessions there. He's known as an in-and-under player, and even though he's only in his second year of football, he's really taken a lot of the load on his young shoulders.
So Smith, Suns looking to get it out of the centre here and get a quick one back. Harbrow always likes to take a bounce. Has Prestia clear. He can almost kick it from here. No, doesn't quite travel the distance. Looking for Bennell. Now Hallahan at the fall of the ball. Gets it to Bennell again. Oh, he's been good early. Very, very smart kick to Ablett.
Very smart, just beyond Gary's range here. Has fantastic skills, but not known for kicking the ball long distances. But he'll probably have this shot from about 47, 48 metres, and you could just hear by the roar of the Gold Coast fans there. As soon as he goes near the ball, they absolutely love him up here. So it'll bring the house down if he can slot this one through.
Yep, the champ normally kicks him from here. No mistake, Gary Ablett.
Fantastic goal, and great vision by Bennell as well to not blaze away. He was on his non-preferred. Could have had another snap over the shoulder. Just managed to pop the ball up. Ablett in plenty of space, and the Gold Coast have certainly got a bit of momentum here.
Yeah, good signs as well with Ablett not playing so much midfield time. Bennell, Martin, Prestia. These guys are the sorts of players that if they're really going to become, well, firstly a finals team and go even further in their 5th season, many predicted that 5th year was, well, a pass or a minimum to make finals. And if they're going to do it, it's these sort of guys that are stepping up today that are going to have to continue that sort of work.
Absolutely. And Gary Ablett will be very happy to get a few touches early, a goal, and just settle his nerves as well. Even the best players, they still just like getting their hands on the footy and getting into it early on.
Absolutely, as Swallow gets the centre clearance once again for Gold Coast, putting the Saints under a tremendous amount of pressure. Came out there with the handball from Billings, and now Jack Stephen has it on centre wing. Oh, not sure what he was thinking with that kick. It might still come up for the Saints, though. It's Jack Sinclair there, the youngster. Got it back from Billings, and the old 1-2, and 1-2-3. Sinclair coming up again with his 3rd touch in this passage. Goes back to the veteran in Fisher. 2 games to 200 games. Now Delaney, another milestone player. Has Dempster there on screen. Goes instead inboard. Dunstan, the goal kicker. And Jaron Geary. Moving the ball around to Sean Dempster. Finally, it ends up with. It might have almost been touched off the boot there. No, umpire's paid the mark to Rewalt. And a 50 going against Stephen May.
Well, maybe a little bit unlucky there. It did look like it might have been a little finger on the marks. We watched the replay, perhaps not, and good mark by Rewalt. It might have actually been for that extra arm trying to spoil the ball after he clearly marked it from a little bit sloppy there, and it could bring Rewalt within scoring range. Or was that another 50? We just saw another Gold Coast player put a St Kilda player down then, and I think Rewalt's had two. 50 metres paid to have it straight in front. Should be a certain goal here for St Kilda.
Yep, silly play there from Lynch to give away the second 50, so two Gold Coast big men, he won't be happy with that.
It's always a bit of a lull when the double 50-metre penalty gets paid. I don't think anyone really likes it, and there has been question marks over whether, in fact, the 50-metre penalty should stay in AFL football or whether it should be shortened to a 25-metre penalty. And we obviously saw there Revolt's just been able to go from centre wing all the way to a certain goal from straight in front, but at the same time, it was the Gold Coast ill discipline that caused the error, so perhaps they should have to pay for it.
It used to be 15 metres, in fact, until late 80s, possibly early 90s, and then they, instead of increasing it incrementally, they just tripled it and some. Yeah.
Well, so some of the state leagues still play with a 25-metre rule or a 50-metre rule for certain infringements, and it does come up from time to time when the laws of the game committee discuss these things, but haven't made any major changes now. As we see St Kilda with a fantastic kick inside. Great leg from Jack Nunes there. Saw the inside kick, straightened it up.
And it's Curran who will line up for his first goal for the day.
Good to see another couple of the St Kilda youngsters combining there with some very smart play, and Curran came in this week, could be looking to make an impact, and a goal in the first quarter won't be a bad way of doing that. It's not too bad off the boot. I think he's put it through. Great goal by Curran. Fantastic clearance work there from St Kilda, and all of a sudden they're back in front after the Gold Coast certainly had a bit of momentum for 5 or 6 minutes there. Great clearance. Smart handball over to Nunes and a fantastic centering kick. Curran had 10 metres on his opponent, and sure enough to finish the goal. Certainly have a game on our hands here, Natav.
Yep, big game on our hands. Really, most pundits would have expected Gold Coast to bounce back and beat St Kilda quite well. But Alan Richardson, we see there right of screen, would be pretty happy with their start. Saints haven't won a game away from home or away from Victoria in their last 12 attempts. So certainly the right sort of start today if they're going to achieve it. As Bennell gets in there again for Smith. Umpire has blown his whistle. It's going to go St Kilda's way, so all the momentum with the red, white and black.
I think Loney just got a bit of extra attention off the ball then after he got rid of it, and that's what the free kick was. Lovely left foot kick.
Yep, comes down to Rewalt, playing the crumbing roll off his left, but as we can see, they're better suited to being a tall forward.
He does have good skills off both of his sides of his body, Rewalt, and it's a useful skill to have because he's a lead-up forward, so he's often running up the ground, taking a mark on the run and looking to play on quickly. So if he can turn left or right, it allows him to have both options to really play the game fast and get the ball inside 50 quickly, but not quite good enough to snap it over his shoulder on that occasion, as we see Gold Coast clear the ball out.
Yep, looking for Day there, and Hallahan first to it in front of Weller. Mitch Hallahan.
A smart recruit, I think, by the Gold Coast Suns. Another, again, a strong midfield body. Couldn't quite crack into that Hawthorn side, as you said. And he'll be looking again to help out Swallow, Prestia, Ablett with a little bit of grunt around the midfield. And he certainly played relatively well last week, and he's certainly been in the game in this first quarter. So a promising start for him, and he'll be very happy to be playing senior AFL football.
Yeah, and you look at the example of Josh Kennedy from Sydney would be the best example, having come from Hawthorn as well, of how often there's these valuable players just hanging around 7th, 8th midfielders at these great clubs, and often they'll slot right into to other teams. So hopefully he makes the most of his opportunity up north. There's another stoppage. Just a few minutes from quarter time. Game in the balance. Smith gets a tap out. There's Hallahan there. We mentioned earlier, looking for pressure, puts him under a lot of pressure. Loney with him, goes to ground, probably not the best move, might almost be holding the ball there. No, Loney just a little careless there, the rookie player.
Lemons was a bit lucky there. He was certainly under a lot of pressure, and as we see, a pretty average kick across the face of goal, and Thompson will struggle to keep up with Curran and Membry there.
Clumsy though from Curran there, and diving in. That rule they brought in a couple of years ago. So free kick's going to Miller, and also not a great kick. So some errors starting to creep into the games of both teams, as Saad once again can't quite take it. Oh, had to go quick now, and Prestia's there again. Nunes with him. Saad again all over the place. Brings it down to Armitage. And going back with it was Membry. It's come down to Loney. He can... Oh, no.
I'll be disappointed with that, Loney. It was a fantastic kick off, and it's on his preferred left foot side. Just a little bit rushed. He had probably a little bit more time then, but unfortunately just didn't quite get the ball on the end of the football, and you saw it just go straight up, floating off his boot rather than going end over end for that snap kick that we saw Bennell execute so well earlier in the game.
Chesky called to go, looking, Shenton came over, now Riscatelli. Swallow uses Riscatelli. Saad, Broughton. Saad once again. Oh, he's got so much pace coming out of defence as Prestia. Oh, puts Thompson in a lot of pressure. And then Tate going back to Harbrow. Just selling themselves into more pressure. Finally, they managed to work it out. Malcheski hits up Riscatelli. And he has some time to assess the options. Couldn't quite bring himself around Sinclair there. And, well, they've worked it nicely in the end. Bennell. Time for a bounce or two,
This
Harley
could be
Bennell.
interesting. Longer chasing. Bennell, you'd think, could outrun him.
Yep.
Legs to kick.
Plenty of pace, Bennell. Oh, Day, though, hasn't had much impact on the game so far. Smith has, brings it, used his weight and height and got it to Day, but Saints diving in. There might be a chance here for Gold Coast, unless that whistle that's been blown is forcing Kilda. It is. Yep, it's going to go to Armitage in another 50, so might have been for Day just ignoring the whistle.
I think Armitage has got a high contact free kick there. I don't know if there was much in that, though. Didn't quite see what the 50 metre was for, but again, brings Armitage to the middle of the ground, sends it inside 50.
Yeah, another sloppy kick off of his wrong foot. Does come to the advantage of Dunstan. Big chance. He as well off his non-preferred. And not such a good result in the end.
This quarter's almost been a tale of thirds. First 10 minutes have been very sloppy, a lot of points. The middle 10 minutes have been very exciting, and again, just the last few shots on goal have slipped to the side. But certainly the running with St Kilda at the moment, they'll get another chance as we tick into this final minute. Good pressure from Gold Coast, though.
Yep, Nunes, a good second effort there. And high, though. It's going to go to Martin. Jack Martin. Well, picks out his captain in Ablett. Suns fans loving Ablett, as always. And he's still got it, doesn't he? Sidesteps Geary. Bennell at the fore. What can he do? Shenton with him. Takes it over the boundary. Bennell looking for deliberate, and he's got it. Well, interesting decision there, right on quarter time. And not just that, probably the one guy in whose hands the Suns would want the ball.
Yeah, I agree with you. Bennell won't know that there's only 13 seconds left. He is looking to the side, but I think he should probably just settle down and have a kick. But Shenton just had to do a little bit better there. It was a little bit obvious that he just wanted to see the ball over and probably didn't need to give it that last tap over. But see Bennell have a crack. This will bring the house down, but misses to the near side.
Well, no time for another score. Saints, not often last season they would have gone into the quarter-time break with a lead, but they've done it today, rather surprisingly, up on the Gold Coast. And time for both coaches to address the troops. And for us to come back for what should be a
Zach Smith young anymore. He's been for so years, but he has had a few injury problems, as a lot of these young ruckmen do. But certainly him and Longer, it's an interesting battle between two relatively young ruckmen, and it might just dictate the game.
Yeah, of course, and Longer actually played struggled to get a game at Brisbane with Matty Leuenberger there, and later Steph Martin. As Saints get a quick kick out.
Poor kick there from Loney.
Yeah, it is Bruce there with Thompson. Now May coming through. Actually, another point to make from the first quarter is it really looks like both teams' smaller forwards. Bennell, Ablett for Gold Coast. For St Kilda, we saw Sard was quite lively. So it'll be interesting to see if the big guys can get into the game.
Yeah, absolutely right. We saw Revolt with that late goal, but really that was from 2 50-metre penalties after he'd taken a mark on the wing. But you know, Lynch and Day have had really no impact for the Suns. And again, Josh Bruce for St Kilda hasn't had his hands on the ball. Tim Membry had a quiet first quarter, so the little men have certainly been getting busy early on in this game, and it'll be interesting to see if it stays that way.
As Longer gets the tap down, comes straight down to the Gold Coast. So Riscatelli's tripped off it. Stephen now puts the Saints into a dangerous area for the Suns. That's looks like Billings in there, and now Shenton comes out to Dunstan. Is that Loney, I think, around the corner? Oh, that's almost going to go through. No, touched at the last moment, and May just has the presence of mind to bang it through for a point. Stephen May. Also become one of the more experienced players in this Gold Coast team. In the early draft picks. So Smith battling again with Longer Weller now, the former Sun. Saints with another chance, looking for Rewald. Oh, good punch by Thompson.
Revolt just shrugged Seb Tape aside then, but Thompson good enough to get back, and here we go. Tape just watching the ball a little bit. Revolt, bigger body, just knew when to time it, but Thompson got back and made a good spoil, and Revolt a little bit unhappy with it. Perhaps his teammate should have just blocked him there, because he was certainly on to take an easy mark.
Well, he was doing the rucking there, but it's to no avail as Swallow comes away with it. Cut off for the Saints as Shenton once again been very busy, going to get it back in the 1-2. Handball back to Robertson, and now they use what looks like Sam Fisher there, as there is a Saints player down there.
I think it's Tim Membry, Nadav. He got a nasty knee in the hip when he went for that mark, and looks being a bit of pain as we see.
Oh, good mark, Josh Bruce.
Brilliant mark from Josh Bruce. Thompson will be disappointed with himself there, but some really strong hands, a true one-on-one contest, and 20 metres straight in front. They hurt if you're a defender.
Certainly they're looking for those tall forwards that are going to take over once Nick Rewell inevitably retires. Not saying it's necessarily soon, but won't be a huge amount of years. And Josh Bruce certainly making an impression in his early in his career, and makes no mistake this time around. So handy lead now for St Kilda.
It's interesting for Bruce. He's played a little bit of back, a little bit of forward in his career. As you see Membry now coming for a rest, and he turned around late, and in fact it might have been the elbow there that came in from the Gold Coast player. There was Lynch. Membry might have just corked those ribs or around the hip, but certainly it was good enough for St Kilda to win the contest. Shenton, as you said, he's been busy. Nadav got a nice handball out to the wing and a good kick to come out to Josh Bruce. And Shenton, in fact, moved up to be the leading possession getter on the ground for St Kilda. And a great story. He came over as a mature age recruit from the Norwood Football Club in the SANFL, which has been a bit of a recruiting powerhouse over the last few years. And he's really become a vital player for the St Kilda team.
The Saints once again looking very nice through the midfield. Savage puts them forward this time. Bruce once again the target. He looks to have actually pulled that down. Wow, Josh Bruce.
Massive clunk from Josh Bruce. He had a hell of a lot of pressure on him there, coming from forward and from back. And as a big, tall player, it's important that you do take those contested marks, but it's not an easy skill when you have pressure coming at you from 360 degrees. He actually got his jump slightly pushed off as he was about to launch, but he was good enough to keep his eyes on the ball and take it with his hands extended. A fantastic contested mark there from Josh Bruce, and looks like he's popped it straight through the middle again. 2 quick goals to him, and that'll be a really big confidence booster to him. St Kilda have started this second quarter really fast, Nadav, and Tell you what, Rodney might be getting a little bit nervous, I think.
Yeah, 17 points. Maybe he'll have to have a search for plan B now. So whatever plan A was doesn't seem to be working.
Just a fantastic mark from Bruce. He really was trying to get up a lot higher for that mark, but got his run blocked by Thompson, but a fantastic mark right in front of his eyes. Thompson's fist was still on the ball, but Bruce good enough to clunk it. And be very happy with that to start off a quarter. And as you said, Nadav, great that the Saints are sharing the load. We mentioned the small players in the first quarter, but now it's actually Bruce that's started the momentum in the second quarter, and Revolt still yet to have a huge impact.
Riscatelli, 17 touches, as we said, in quarter one, gets the centre clearance for Gold Coast. A little push out of the way there, Lynch. Not really doing well to hide that fact, and it's going to be a free kick. Shenton wanted to play on quickly, but it might come back to Fisher.
This looks a little bit rusty, Tommy Lynch. He's come in this game. Didn't play round one, but I mean, he's playing on the 200 gamer in Sam Fisher. It's difficult to get up against a player who's been around for that long, but you know, he needs to have that responsibility on his shoulders. He and Sam Day really need to lead this charge up forward for Gold Coast, so they'll need to get their hands on a few more possessions as the game goes on, as we see Seb Tate mop up to Malcheski.
Yep, and now Lemons. So Sean Lemons off to Koladajny. Now Sexton, it appears to be. Alex Sexton. Native Queenslander is Sexton. Oh, Martin, good tackle. Ablett. Sexton again. And a booming kick. Gives Lynch the advantage, but once again Fisher with him. Miller, though, has the presence to be there at the fall of the ball. Harbrow, clever kick. What can Lynch do with it? Oh, surely would have given it today. Doesn't matter. He's still managed to kick it.
Yeah, well, very nice work there by Lynch on the ground. He's shown me up 2 minutes after giving him a little bit of a rev up, and that's great to see. It's, you know, can't always take those big marks, but nice to see him have that presence of mind to stay down. And as you said, it was a good tackle by Martin. He really needed to make sure of it, though, after dropping that easy mark. And a smart kick by Harbrow. Didn't quite hit the target, but you see Lynch there put it through, and Fisher chasing after it to no avail. And the Suns just turned the momentum a little bit. They certainly needed it at the start of this second quarter. It's been all St Kilda's way until now. You see Lynch's stats, just the 3 disposals so far. That was his second kick, but certainly a good one, and puts the Gold Coast Suns within 11 points of the Saints.
199 centimetres, big Lynch from Victoria's Mornington Peninsula, down the road from Melbourne, as Ablett taps it out to his teammate in Swallow, gets the centre clearance. Oh, didn't bounce kindly for Hallahan. Dunstan got it down to Savage, and instead the Saints are the ones who go forward. Looking for Membry there. Good mark by Stephen May. Why did he play on, though? Not quite sure. At least he had Broaden in support. And the former Docker. Oh, Smith almost standing around waiting for his teammate there as Jack Martin comes through and takes the mark. Now he has Smith peeling off the big ruckman. Nunes just holds him up. Zach Smith. Once again, not a great kick to his opposite number there in Longer, and falls down to Fisher and then Sinclair. Nunes. Almost cut off. Oh, Ewalt comes in. Tate's got him. Almost have been holding the ball there. Yep, the umpires have been red hot on that this season, often giving players no more than about a second to dispose of it. And
well, it was certainly a good tackle by Tate, but again, it was the drop mark that forced him to have to make that tackle. He probably should have taken that intercept in front of Revolt before, but good enough to get back and make amends for it. And he's giving away a bit of size to Revolt at the moment, but I think Ede's gone with Tate because he is that little bit fitter and can follow him up the ground. And we see Stephen May playing that sort of more at-home role on Josh Bruce.
Yeah, but we saw an uncharacteristic little miss kick off the ground, and Weller got it to Sinclair, and now Fisher getting busy running through the middle. Looks for Rewalt again, the target, but it falls to Membry. So good to see him back on the ground as well after that what looked to be an injury before.
Yeah, immediate impact. Interesting, Tim Membry again. We've spoken about a few second chance players today, and he, at the end of last year, after spending 2 seasons on the Sydney Swans list, you can see he's a big, powerful youngster. He kicked 100 goals in 2 seasons in the Northeastern AFL League. with the Sydney Swans recruits, but wasn't good enough to get a game behind Kurt Tippett and Lance Franken, which is understandable. Requested a trade, started with St Kilda last week, and he's missed this goal after we've started to pump him up, but he did make an impact for the Saints last week. And he just adds another big body around that forward line to take some of the load off Revolt and Bruce, the other new player.
Lemons. Oh, did well to get round Sard. Not a good kick, though. Dempster. Sets it up for Rewalt, coming across there.
Great spoil by Swallow.
Player. Yep. Malcheski again. Well, just picking out Saints players in their first kick out of defence. Shenton. Oh, big knock. Is that Broaden who brought down the Saints player? Looks like it. Nunes is going to be a bit groggy as he gets up. Not too much in that, though. Good
hard contested football, I think, and probably the right decision to pay the mark, but certainly Broughton going in 100%, and his coach will be happy with that. It's a decent shot on goal if Nunes can pop this through from outside 50.
No trouble in from here. He's, in fact, just gone to set it up for the high flyers, probably hoping for Bruce to come over the top. It is Armitage there at the full. Four Suns with him. Falls down to Weller. What can he do? Now Sinclair can't quite control it. Has Rewalt in support. Gives it instead to Shenton. Smothered by Prestia out of bounds.
Some smart work on the ground there by Weller. Gave it to the second gamer in Sinclair, but just a little bit too hot for him as he gets used to the increased pace of AFL football. But it'd be lovely every minute of it, especially with his St Kilda players up by 12 points. Ball just outside 50 now for them as Martin looks to bring it out but can't do so. He got taken off the ball, and I think he's got a free kick for holding the man there.
Yeah, Longer, well, Martin giving away 30, 40 kilos to Billy Longer. Suns bring it out of defence through Adam Saad. Now Bennell.
Horrible hand pass there from Bennell. Needs to be better than that.
It's come down to Ahmed Saad, and he's going to kick his second. He has. And the Saints lead back out to 3 kicks.
Well, it's just not good enough from Harley Bennell. He is now, as much as he's a young player, he still is an experienced player in the context of this Gold Coast team. And you can see the look on Rodney Eaves' face there, not happy. Saad made a good run. Probably should have kicked himself, to be perfectly honest, but Bennell just... There was no way that handball was going to come off. He had 3 Saints players around him. It's much better to just kick the ball long and get it out of that defensive 50, because if you're playing around with it and trying to be too cute within your defensive half, then you make a mistake and you just get absolutely slammed on the scoreboard. And Saad will be absolutely over the moon with an easy goal like that as a small, nippy forward.
Interesting there. He's actually playing on Adam Saad. Adam Saad debuted last week and reportedly got 100 tickets for relatives to come over and see him at the MCG. Fantastic stuff. As Martin, one of the better Gold Coast players so far today, tries to get his team lifting. Lynch goes up for the fly, now starting to provide a contest, but Delaney's going to get back this time. So is Miller. Gives it almost to the advantage of Lynch, but just the little kick out there from Dempster saves the Saints at the last second. Took Miller there on screen.
Some encouraging signs there from Miller, just in his second game of AFL footy. Looks to have a bit of pace. Handy to be at the feet of Day and
Bruce. And it's Sinclair now kicking it out for the Saints. Loney sees it over. Ablett there really hasn't had a lot of midfield time at all today, in fact. Normally, you know, it might be something to start with for a couple of minutes, but then push up. Eid obviously trying something new.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there still is a lot of discussion about whether that shoulder is 100%. And so when you're playing that midfield role, you get a lot more contact. You have to take a lot more tackles and body contact around the ball. So you might just be trying to shield that, as we see.
Yep, Lynch couldn't bring it down. 2 Saints with him. Dunstan cleans up. Suns fans not happy about that at all. Shenton. Oh. Thought the boundary line was a safer option than giving it back to his teammate. Well, what do you think? Free kick?
Well, there's a little bit of extra attention there from Delaney, just wrapping that left arm around Lynch, but it's probably one of those touch and go ones. And to be honest, it's 10 metres out in front. It's a certain goal for the Gold Coast, so the umpire's probably made the right decision there just to let it roll on. Yeah. Suns fans certainly not happy though.
As Day pops it up, looking for Lynch once again. 2-3 with him again. So Saints defenders doing well to get back. Miller got the tackle in there. Geary now gets it out for the Saints. Savage has space. He can run. Has Sexton going after him. Has pace to burn though. Shane Savage, another former Hawthorn player there. Kick not so good. Going to advantage Thompson. Nice little tap down to Broaden. Now May. So 3 Suns defenders all pushing up. And Lynch again, just clumsy there at the last second. And Geary taking advantage of it. And Sexton as well slid in. Almost gave away the free kick against Billings. And neither side's getting a clean possession. Colin Dajney now, he's been quiet. Prestia. Broaden as well. Well, quite slippery conditions out there as May goes straight to Curran. 5 or 6 turnovers here. Weller rode the tackle. Suns are going to get it back again. No, umpire going to give the free kick again. Some real heat in this game. Riscatelli and Armitage going at it. Lemons there as well in the thick of it. Broaden coming in to remonstrate with his former teammate there, former son in Weller. So players would want to be careful. The AFL known for not really having much tolerance for that sort of behaviour. And it's going to end up with St Kilda 50 metres down the ground again. 4 50-metre penalties for the Saints.
Well, again, regardless of what happened there, and we might not be 100% sure unless we can see a close-up replay, but the Gold Coast Suns just can't afford this ill discipline and giving away easy shots on goal when the ball's miles away from their inside 50. And you know, you've got another young player that gets an opportunity to kick a goal for St Kilda, and it's going to push them further ahead.
Yep, Loney. No, not going to go even close. Might be a chance for a mark for St Kilda. And who else? Josh Bruce.
He's certainly up and about in this first quarter. Could be lining up for his 3rd goal. And I tell you what, if this goes through, it might be time for a good old Rodney Eade rocket to his players, because he will be absolutely ropeable with the last 5 minutes. We saw before that free kick was given away. You mentioned the slippery conditions. There's some easy marks dropped, some easy balls missed, and indeed Bruce slots it through. Fantastic left foot check side. His 3rd for the quarter, so we're inside 10 minutes to go in this second quarter, and St Kilda have headed out to a nice little lead here of 4 goals. But just not good enough from the Gold Coast players at the moment, and they really need some of their leaders to step up now, I think. Riscatelli, I mean, Broughton was involved in that altercation. He's a senior player compared to a lot of the other players. You can't afford to get sucked into these wrestling matches and silly free kicks. It needs to be your delivery on the scoreboard and on the field with your skill, and that's what the Gold Coast Suns have got to get back to in this last 10 minutes of the second term, because otherwise they're going to have a lot of work to do in this second half.
Smith and Longer back in the middle. Longer favoured by the bounce. Does come down to Riscatelli. Prestia. Bennell. Oh, in fact, it's Miller and Shenton. Just both of them overrunning it there. Now Fisher in there. Shenton. Can he get the... Oh, nice little kick out, in fact, to Fisher. Very clever. Not sure if that was his intention, but it did come off. And now Curran trying to work his way into the game. Saad with him. Works him off the ball. Hands off to Lemons. Now Longer for St Kilda. Stephen, he needs to get into the game. Robertson off to Weller. Now Sinclair. Saints full of run. Going to have to be quick. Dempster. Saad again worrying his opponent off the ball. Straight to Weller though. Ablett with him. Falls to Billings. Weller. Smith must come up with it for Gold Coast. No, coming in Curran. Surely a free kick. Advantage paid, in fact. Robertson. Wow, not a noted goal kicker. And all of a sudden, very worrying times. 5 goals of difference.
Well, we might just bring up a few stats here, Nadav, because I think there's some telling ones for the Gold Coast Suns. Largely the contested possessions are in their favour, 69 to 62. Their disposal efficiency is the same as St Kilda, but their clangers, they're up 18 to 12 St Kilda. And for our European viewers, a clanger is just where it's a clear, obvious mistake, a direct kick to an opposition player or an obvious mistake by a Gold Coast player, and we're seeing a lot of that so far. They've been sloppy in the first quarter, sloppy in the second quarter, and St Kilda are just converting every opportunity they can get at the moment. See, Gold Coast have got the advantage with the clearances. They're 24 to 15 on that differential. Inside 50s though, that's where St Kilda are are winning it because they're getting that ball effectively forward with better skill at the moment, and they're now 5 goals ahead.
Scatelli again, Harbour out under it. Takes the mark in front of Billings. Back onto that favoured left. Again, not a great kick. It will come off this time though. Riscatelli, probably the Suns' best performer today. Hands off to Harbour once again. Now they're with a real chance. No, getting in front of it was the St Kilda defender there in Fisher, and straight back out of defence where it came from. Here's Harbour again, third touch in the space of a few seconds, and again a shocker. 3 bad kicks. What is he thinking? St Kilda to clear. This is Nunes.
Rodney
lively too.
Just be pulling out the last few strands that do remain on his head at the moment. I think Rodney Eady'd be having a torrid time in that box. He really needs to try and shake it up, but you know, there's only so many tactical moves you can make, Nadav, if the team continues to not be able to hit their targets with their skill, and whether that's by foot or with a handball, you've just got to be able to hit the target, and it's not happening at the moment for the Gold Coast Suns. Yeah,
this must come as a huge shock too. Big raps on them in the pre-season, and there's always one team, you never really know who it's going to be, that maybe comes out in the opening to a season and performs well below expectations. And I'd say that title belongs to Gold Coast at the moment, unless they can pull something out in the second half as Smith gets back. Affects what looks to be a spoil that almost goes to the advantage of St Kilda as Harbour lands sort of a half tackle on Armitage. Ablett might almost go over the line. No, oh well, only Ablett can really find his way out of traffic there. As Curran leads his opponent to the ball, and now Geary. And Rewalt comes over the top, couldn't take the mark. Bruce hands it off.
Clever football.
Impressive stuff. And another goal this time to Jack Sinclair.
Fantastic skill shown by both players there. Josh Bruce with a lightning handball to Sinclair, who was in that fantastic front and centre possession. And then the second game of AFL football, he's smart enough to just dribble it on the boot, put it underneath the Gold Coast player, and it's a difficult skill to execute at the best of times, let alone when you've got a split second to do it. And here we go, underneath the arms of Seb Tate. Fantastic goal. St Kilda really got all the running now.
Looking a little worried there. Richardson probably more relaxed than he's been at any time, at any stage in his time at St Kilda. And Wine Hot, they've got another clearance. All running all over the Suns at the moment. So, tape that was. Swallow brought down with a hard tackle. Saints really playing some hard footy here as Stephen, short kick, all the momentum. Armitage feeds it out to Robertson. Still on a high after a rare goal, and back to Armitage once again. One of the more experienced Saints midfielders, Armitage, looking for longer. Swallow gets in there now. Rewalt for St Kilda. Hands it off to Sard. He's got Koladajny right with him. Sard just using that pace we talked about earlier. And, oh, has he kicked that too? No. It's going to be Bruce again. And talk about a purple patch. Josh Bruce. 3 goals this quarter, lining up for his 4th. Goal assist as well. Big mark down on the wing. This might be, well, he's really put himself on the AFL stage today in this second quarter.
It's almost an identical spot from his last goal. He's done it again. Perfect left foot check side. They're not easy to execute, but Josh Bruce has slotted 2 1/4, and he is absolutely loving life at the moment. I mean, you said it before, Nada, but this is a hugely unexpected blowout from St Kilda so far, and if they can keep this momentum, there are going to be a lot of questions asked of the Gold Coast Suns come tomorrow morning's newspapers. But you see Bruce there, took the mark right on the line, didn't quite hold on to it, but the umpire decided he'd had enough, and a great goal. 4 goals in a quarter. St Kilda really blown apart this game in this second quarter, and the Gold Coast have got a lot of work to do. 5 minutes left to perhaps peg a few back up to half time, but there's going to be some harsh words at half-time for this team, I think.
Longer, no, Day doing the relief work, gets the tap, but once again St Kilda with the advantage. Full of running, Savage, wrong foot, doesn't matter, still comes off. Armitage gets the hands off to Dunstan, everything going right for them. Savage now, he gets hands. No, finally Sun's going to cut it off through, well, it's Ablett there now, the captain, and hits up Day. Got a man there loose on the wing. Looks to be Harbrow again. Might want some better disposal than we saw earlier. Just kicks it high in hope, and Fisher getting back. Just really not the right sort of delivery into the forward line as Longer gets it back to his partner there in defence in Fisher, and Nunes takes the mark. Almost time for Gold Coast just to try and shut down the game on half-time and not let this lead blow out any longer. We have seen a couple of big comebacks so far in the first 2 rounds. Swans running over a tie at Essendon last week from 40 down, and earlier today the Giants trailed Melbourne by about 5 goals and ran over them with 13 straight. So Gold Coast will be hoping to take a leaf out of the book of their fellow new boys as Longer gets the free kick, Day coming over his shoulder. Billy Longer there.
It's interesting, Longer certainly had the advantage in the hit-outs, 25-19 in favour of St Kilda at the moment, but the clearances are the complete opposite. 25 clearances for the Gold Coast and 17 for the St Kilda Saints, but although they're winning in the middle at the moment, I think the Gold Coast ball use around the ground's really hurting them, and as we're seeing this quarter, St Kilda are much more efficient, fast, getting the ball into their forward line quickly with effective forwards, and that's why they're 7 goals ahead.
Yeah, and most of them careless errors. Not to put St Kilda down, great effort today, but they are the reigning wooden spooners, and certainly don't put the amount of pressure of, you know, the likes of a Hawthorn or a Sydney. So very worrying signs for the Gold Coast.
Yeah, you're right, and that is a concern for Rodney Eade that he's going to have to address. He wants to be, you know, testing himself against the benchmarks, but he's had 2 games so far against the lower teams from last year, and that hasn't been good enough, and that's something they're going to have to address quick, smart over the course of the next couple of weeks. Otherwise, it's going to be a long 2015 season for the Gold Coast Suns.
The bottom 2, in fact, from last year. Melbourne were second bottom, and once again, really starting to put the boot in now. Jack Loney can line up for his first goal of the day. A chance earlier, probably the distance troubled him. Shouldn't this time. Another handy pickup, pick 41 in the draft, and he's drilled it.
And you see his teammates get around him there. Jack Loney, fantastic story, made his debut round 1 last week after, well, St Kilda certainly had, I guess, some higher profile new recruits through the draft. In fact, they had McCartan, who went with the #1 prize possession pick. Key position player, which obviously take a little bit longer to develop, but Loney came in as a later draft pick and has made his impact felt immediately. Started on the ground last week, and again this week gets his opportunity. He's been very lively up forward. He's elusive, he's got speed, he's got agility, and he's got a lovely left foot, and we just saw him there to be very happy to get on the scorer's sheet so far.
Longer and Smith to compete again. Longer with the tap, getting right on top. Coming down to Sinclair, and Saints clear again. Robert, and way too much space. Holds it up. Malcheski with him. Dylan Robertson. Finds Saad. Looks to be Armitage possibly down in the with the trainer with him. Fisher. It is Armitage there, the top of your screen. It's Fisher. Oh, over the top again, Bruce. Could he kick 5 for the quarter? Saad gets away from Lynch. Stephen now. Not a good kick. Oh, ricochet. Loney goes in. Harbrow as well. Bennell will come up with it. Gets it off to Harbrow. He's been busy. Now Ablett. Ablett down back, just trying to help out his teammates there who are under siege. Harbrow has Kolodjasny free, has a couple of players free, goes to Ablett instead. Not a good pass. Loney right with him. Saad, just careless stuff there from the Suns. Even Ablett isn't good enough to get out of situations like that every time. And Tape. Oh, finally, they pick out a man on his own and kick it accurately. Haven't been able to say that too many times today. Lynch, but no one running for him apparently. Lynch Need someone to take a mark, and, well, they can't do it twice in a row. Robertson again, beneficiary of many a Suns turnover this quarter. Oh, and Lynch, that is careless. Dunstan, play on. Saints might have another chance here for a late one. Could they put the margin beyond 50? Thompson, if he has anything to say about it, won't let them, as Dunstan comes down looking to have a bit of a worry there. What do you make of that?
Good hard physical contest, I think. Like to see that in the game. But I think, as we said, you can't see Gold Coast moving forwards, and Kilda are just setting up their zone across that half-back line fantastically. And when you do have smart players like Robertson and Sam Fisher to be able to chop off those kicks, the Gold Coast just don't have anywhere to go at the moment, and they're really struggling to get any penetration past the wing. As we see now, they've actually put Stephen May up forward to try and shake things up a little bit, because they're not getting that big, tall target from Sam Day and from Tom Lynch. As May's had a little bit of a problem on Josh Bruce so far, so an interesting move there by Rodney Eade with swapping over their key position players. May and Rory Thompson very quiet on the statistics sheet at the moment. Thompson just with the 1 and May with 2 possessions, so maybe rolling him up forward might change things up. We'll see Day spending some time in that half-back line, but perhaps some speed here from Malcheski coming out of the half-back line.
Yep, once again, no, couldn't take the mark. Press, just Shenton getting in there. Miller with him. Oh, manages to strip him off it quite cleverly. Shenton with the tackle. Good tackle. Miller just managing to get rid of it, and Tape looking for Smith. The two big men there going for it. Smith just a little more agile than his opponent in longer, and Lynch couldn't quite take it. Which is a shame, because he went close from the boundary line. And just enough time, if they're good enough, to snaffle a hit out here and a quick goal. Desperately needed. Probably won't save them from a tongue lashing from Rocket Eade at half-time, but might make their job just slightly less difficult. Smith and Longer to battle. Rewall over the top, third man. Weller, they'll be looking to clear quickly. Ablett with a chance. Oh, has he kicked it? No, hit the post. So that'll be it. That'll be it for the first half. Eade, well, I want to know what's going through his head right now. 47 points of difference. Not sure in their wildest nightmares they could see this happening. And don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly with the second half from the Gold Coast, where the Saints lead the Suns by 47 points.
The coach will be looking for, and as the players start to make their way towards their positions. Gary Ablett again starting up in that forward line, not in the midfield, which is his customary position. The St Kilda players have done really well of shutting his influence down and turning into an advantage for the St Kilda players. And the Gold Coast Suns, well, I'm sure that Rodney will have had a few tricks up his sleeve that he'll be trying to roll out in this second half, but they have a lot of work to do to come back from what is a serious deficit, and they'll need to start fast with this second half, Nado.
Almost some tough love with Ablett there. Almost some tough love, given that his missing the end of last season was probably what cost him a final spot, and he's basically, well, sent the message out to the young Suns midfielders to learn from him. He's thrown them in, kept them in the deep end, let's say, and having to make do without him. Ablett really there just to save the day. Might be a bit late today to save the day, mind you, as Swallow. Well, they can try. Swallow puts them forward, hoping for a more positive start, and certainly the result that Eade's blast that he gave them at half-time should have brought, as Lynch takes the mark just outside 50.
Yeah, it's a great mark by Lynch, and the marks have certainly been one of the major problems for Gold Coast at the moment. Just 20 marks of the game so far compared to St Kilda's 46, which is a strong sign of their kicking efficiency being down. But Tom Lynch starts this quarter inside a minute, takes the mark on the 50. He's lining up the goal now, but just puts it straight to the left-hand side, and a disappointing start for a minor score, and St Kilda will bring the ball back in.
Night that Lynch would like to forget, that's for sure. And his partner in crime up there in the forward line, Day, almost unsighted, as Geary takes the mark.
We have mentioned Dane Lynch a couple of times today. They've got another big tall forward in Charlie Dixon, who's unfortunately injured at the moment, and he did have a decent year last year, and it was really he and Lynch that did make a big impact for the Suns, and it was quite a reason for them to have, you know, one of their stronger seasons. But His first 2 games, they haven't quite had that so far. And, you know, the St Kilda defensive unit, apart from Sam Fisher in his 200th, who, well, let's be fair, hasn't played a lot of games over the last couple of years. They've got a lot of other youngsters in that defensive unit, but they've been absolutely spot on today. Been setting up well with their structures, been getting numbers, extra numbers to the tall contest so that Day and Lynch haven't been able to have one-on-one competition. And it's certainly showing on the scoreboard at the moment.
Longer again. Palms it down, coming through Weller. Now Armitage, who got through heavy traffic there. Now Jack Stephen couldn't quite pick it up. Swallow, Nunes tackles him fiercely. Come quite a good tackler has Jack Nunes, as Martin got it from Prestia and looks for Lynch once again. Oh, is this... Garlett looks to be on the sub. We'll bring you in a second the news of who he's replaced.
Well, interestingly, Jared Harbrow.
Harbrow, really?
150th game, he's been subbed by Ronnie Eade, and you know, surprising to take off a player of that experience, but no favours in a milestone game. Eade obviously not happy with Harbrow's performance, and young Garlett straight into the scene there with a shot on goal. Not quite the finish he wanted, but he should add a little bit of excitement to this Gold Coast team, and Eade will expect him to have a significant impact.
Yeah, we mentioned Harbrow a few times. He got quite a ton of possession, actually. 20 disposals, second highest for the Suns. But as we see Saad coming off there.
That's a bit worrying. It looks, I think he might be concussed there. No, that's not good signs. He struggled to get off the ground, and we hope he's okay. If he is concussed, he may have to stay off the ground for a few minutes while the doctors have a look at him. But
so something with his leg there as well.
Odd one. He might have just landed a little bit awkwardly. Oh, he got an elbow on the head and then landed awkwardly on the knee. That's not a good collision for Saad, and he's been a real live wire up forward so far. The Saints won't want him going down this early into the second half, but we'll keep our eyes on that.
Nathan Wright, of course, the sub-Saints haven't used that yet, so still have that in reserve as Fisher.
Another great chop-out mark across that half-back line. Saints have started well again in this second half.
Finds Dempster. Now Sinclair. Saad, that's the other Saad. Adam with him. Good tackle from Adam Saad. Nunes comes in. Saad again with a second follow-up tackle. Putting the old Nunes treatment on Jack Nunes. Nunes probably the liveliest St Kilda tackler today.
Yeah, fantastic effort there by young Saad. 2 big contests. That's what you want in your young players. Don't be scared of the hard ball and really get in there and make their presence felt. Impressive from him. Jack Martin's had 4 tackles for them. Prestia 3, Swallow 3, Smith 3. So their midfielders getting in tight around the ball, but some fantastic effort there from Saad, the young defender. You're spot on, Nutter, with the stats back up. Jack Nunes, 5 tackles, highest tackle on the ground so far.
Yeah, and just back on Harbrow, I was going to say a lot of possessions, but if we're going to be completely honest, most of those possessions weren't very good, and most of those disposals weren't very good, rather, and probably had, probably the reason behind Eade's decision there. Wouldn't have been happier with one of his more experienced players, as we see a bit more aggro there. It's Sexton for Gold Coast, Robertson for St Kilda. Longer had the better of the ruck contest today. Armitage. Oh, is that Hallahan under there as well for Gold Coast? Pack forms. Martin hands the ball back over to the umpire. Smith this time works his way to the front, comes down to Sexton. Smothered by Longer. Now Martin again. Finds Swallow. Oh, good tackle. Good tackle and a turnover. And, well, it's not Jack Nunes, it's Jack Billings. Added, by the way, 6 kilos to his frame over the pre-season. Then did his hamstring again. And now he's back in round 2, looking better than ever.
It certainly helped him with that tackle there. It is an interesting point where these young players do hit the weights for really the first time in their sporting careers, and can see some break down, but good for Billings. It's certainly helping him. And Bruce, as we call it, another fantastic contested mark. He is giving Stephen May a very difficult time today. And that was a pure one-on-one contest. A great kick by the St Kilda player inside 50, and that's exactly what you want as a tall forward. But Bruce is on fire and should kick his 5th from here.
hasn't put a foot wrong today, Josh Bruce. And he's kicking beautifully as well. Splits the middle once again. St Kilda, the lead beyond 50.
Great kick by Bruce. It's 5 goals and a fantastic goal assist to Jack Sinclair late in that second quarter. But we just see Stephen May take his eyes off the ball and come back to try and find contact with Bruce, which he just needs to shift his body probably another 20 degrees so he can keep one eye on the football and then find touch. But he just got a little bit lost there. The St Kilda player kicked it in, was very smart to put the ball up high, which meant that Bruce had an easy run at it from front on, whereas May was always going to be in trouble when he's tracking backwards. But you would think that after having had a few marks taken on him so far, May might have just had a little bit more of a tighter touch on Bruce from the start of that contest, but unfortunately not.
So the Suns are getting most of the clearances, but once again, Lynch just outnumbered. Garlett couldn't get a free run at it as well, and oh, he has a, no, that's going to be a throw, surely. Umpire doesn't see it. Geary now, and Saints clear once again. They are killing them off half-back as Mav Weller takes the mark. Former Sun. Now doing the job there, shading Gary Ablett.
Full kick.
It's Prestia. Gets it back for them. Garlett once again overruns it. Weller. Well, Ablett even struggling to get amongst it. Can he get a touch here? No. Stephen. Savage.
That's a nice kick. St Kilda could have used the inside corridor there, but Sinclair elects to go back to Savage. And
now it's Curran. Looks for Rewald. Oh, tried to be a bit too clever with it. And the result is that Malcheski cuts it off for a boundary throw-in. Former Sydney champion, of course, Nick Malcheski. Saad there on the bench. Ablett can't get to it, bounces away from him. Martin, in fact, been the busier of those two as Hallahan gets a kick out. Only as far as the St Kilda player in Curran, it appears, and then Savage, and right back into that dangerous area. And finally, one of the Suns' tall stands up. It is, in fact, Sam Day being sent. Now he's been sent back to defence, played ruck, played forward, played defence today, and the saving mark for the Suns. Hits up Lemons. Oh, nowhere to go, just no support. And again, they turn it over. Excruciating stuff to watch, really, as Sean Dempster this time is the Saint who chops it off.
Yeah, again, fantastic defensive work from St Kilda. Richardson's really got them drilled nicely, and it's good to see them continuing to have that discipline to stay in their positions. And as we see, every time the Gold Coast go past their wing, there are just St Kilda players set up. And, you know, Dempster does have a lot of experience. He's played a lot of games for St Kilda and a lot of games for the Sydney Swans, including a premiership. So with him and Sam Fisher there, they're certainly having their impact felt.
And that is Nathan Wright onto the ground.
So that's interesting there, Nadav. I wonder if he's been subbed on for Ahmed Saad.
Yeah, he has indeed been brought on for Saad, it appears.
We've just got an update on Jared Harbrow here. He's actually been subbed off with a shoulder injury and going to be sent for scans this week. So, you know, we've discussed him probably not quite having the impact that we thought he might. He did have 20 possessions in the first half, so he may have been a little bit harsh, but it's been an injury worry rather than a form worry for the Suns. So it was a forced change rather than a tactical one for Rodney Eade, and a lot will rest on Garlett's shoulders to have some impact as we see.
Slips catch.
Great mark, and Revolt under the ball here.
Going to be a free kick again.
He might have just given... I thought he might have given Ablett a push, but the umpire's called high contact. I'm not quite sure about that. I'd like to see the replay, but regardless of how it happened, Revolt's got a shot 25 metres out and should certainly convert from here. In fact, it was Stephen May, I think, coming in late over the top with that left shoulder. It wasn't Ablett, it was May who came in late after the ball actually dropped out of Revolt's arm. So Stephen May just, again, ill-discipline costing him, and well, luckily not costing him for the maximum.
Well, doesn't hurt that much when you're 52 points up halfway through the third. And the Coasters only with 4 goals, so Hard to see where they're going to come from here if they're going to be any chance, as Kolodajny has the ball in the back pocket for the Suns. Played Kolodajny, brother Jake was drafted in the same year by Geelong to make his debut. Swallow, his brother as well, North champion Andrew Swallow. So good to see a lot of new successful families in the AFL as Dempster goes high over Smith. Smith appealing for the free kick. This time he is going to get it. And gives Thompson, or May rather, a nice chance at it. Couldn't pull down the mark. Armitage, Dunstan. Finds Membry. Tim Membry. Stephen hugs the boundary line.
I think he might have just juggled the ball over the line there. The umpire's going to call a throw in. Just a little bit sloppy from Stephen there. Couldn't quite take it cleanly. And we have a throw in as we see Ahmed Saad come off, and disappointing for him because he was certainly up and about in that first half. A couple of goals. But just be, as well as a concussion, I think I'd be a little bit concerned about that leg that just seemed to get caught under him as he landed. It's, you know, when you get knocked in the head, sometimes you see players, they do land awkwardly and sometimes painfully. So let's hope that it is just a minor injury and that he'll be okay to play next week. Again, it's a 2-on-1 there for St Kilda. Gold Coast just with no clean options moving forward. Great pressure by Richatelli though.
Ablett, what can he conjure up here? Oh, just too slow with it. May now. Oh, how often do you hear that? Geary right with him. Right with Ablett, that is. Just when it looked like he was going to, normally, late in the game, second half, Suns down, he would conjure up magic. So definitely worried, definitely will raise questions over the level of his fitness and health.
It was an uncharacteristic mistake there by Ablett. I think he actually should have given it to Garlett, who was the free man. The handball was on, but he tried to perhaps do a little bit too much, and Geary certainly let him know about it afterwards. But, I mean, as you said, he is a remarkable player in that he can do things by himself a lot of the time. But in that case, I think he probably should have got rid of it. But it's probably a sign of the pressure and the frustration that he's under at the moment.
He's entitled to a couple of bad games as well after 200-odd brilliant games. Played in 2 premierships with Geelong before moving over to the new Gold Coast Suns in 2011 as Billings looked to be almost legged there, got the handball off. Saints teammate puts him forward. Oh, Membry with so much space. If it bounces right for him, Kolodajny in pursuit. Membry messes it up.
Disappointment there by Membry, but again, it was a horrible kick by Zach Smith. A poor movement forward by the Gold Coast Suns caused a direct turnover, and St Kilda nearly punished him on the direct break. It's frustrating football to watch at the moment for Gold Coast fans.
Thompson. Cross goal. Oh,
risk again.
Taught as a young kid not to do something like that if you don't have a clear man, and it was a big mistake. And luckily, Adam Saad has the free kick. Now Chesky, well, might have been too quick to play on. Managed to shrug off the savage tackle, bring it into Riscatelli. Oh, umpire just getting in the way of Swallow there. Still, Suns managed to push it forward. Just no options there. Delaney gets back. Good tackle by Garlett on Fisher.
There's a good show of the St Kilda's defensive unit's confidence there that Delaney did leave his man in Garlett to go and spoil that ball. Again, it's a bit of a risk whether you go up in the air or you stay with your man on the ground. Garlett was dangerous, but Delaney ended up making the right decision. As we see a quick snap over the shoulder from Gold Coast Suns. Fantastic kick there from Dion Pressier. He has been one of the better players today, and that's a classy finish on his left foot. Didn't have much time to play with, and slots his first through for the game. Gold Coast peg one back here, a long way to go, but we see some great tap work from Smith, and off just a couple of steps, Prestier on his left foot. That's a classy goal. Great kick, and Gold Coast fans something to get happy about. So Prestier with the 23 possessions now. Most of those hand passes, but a very important kick there to get one back for the Gold Coast Suns. They edge a little bit closer, but still a long way to go here, 53 points behind.
It's Bruce and Lynch in Iraq. Lynch got the tap out. Savage Gets it down to Robertson there now. Miller in pursuit. Garlett running after him as well, making a big impact coming on as sub. But Armitage gets it to Bruce. Might have his first ever 3 votes in the bag here. Bruce would certainly be a contender. As Membry takes the mark just outside 50. Going to be tough from here. There's Day right there with him.
Well, it's an early call, but certainly the big tall forwards, when they're up and about kicking goals, you can't really go past them. And Bruce has kicked 5 really in the space of a quarter. He got an early one in this quarter and kicked 4 in the second and been very lively. But Membry will want a chance to make amends for his missed goal a few minutes earlier. Tough kick from outside 50.
Well, it's gone a long way. Just hooked a little bit at the end. And Bruce, by the way, well, they say the hairstyle often can help, and he's got the ponytail there, might just catch the umpire's attention as well.
Yeah, the old top knot or the ponytail seems to have certainly come back into fashion amongst the AFL fraternity. I'm not quite sure the effectiveness of it, but certainly it's working for Josh Bruce. As we see Malcheski here, you step over the line, kicking that ball out, so we're going to have a ball up at the top of the square. An error from the experienced defender and pressure back on the Gold Coast here with a clearance right out the front of the St Kilda goal, but good enough to clear it out by Hallahan.
Oh, good mark again by Wright. He's really able to stretch those arms. Second time he's done that. Not so his teammate in Stephen, and Hallahan will get it back once again. Gets it off to Bennell, been quiet after a very busy first quarter. Finds Stephen May. May certainly wanting to show some improvement in this last quarter and a bit. There's Miller, Tuke Miller, he's been quiet. Garlett has Bennell now. So just one of the players I'll be hoping to get into it. Tackled by Shenton. Well, gets a second attempt at it. Now Swallow out of bounds.
Great pressure by Shenton there. Just stayed off his opponent there, and Bennell didn't go into him too fast and allow himself to get run around, and a great tackle and got the ball over the line. Again, the Suns just can't quite get that quick movement through their half-forward line that they're really searching for.
Triscatelli got it to Kolodajny, and May, much maligned, well, by us possibly for his performance during this game, but finally able to make a positive impact, and he will line up for the Suns 6th. So just starting to creep back a little bit. The margin at half-time was 47. So this would put the Suns in front, at least for the quarter. Baby steps. May, no. Not quite.
Well, against the opportunity there for May came out of some good stoppage work by Gold Coast, and they're certainly still on top in terms of the clearances. But they just can't get some fast ball movement off the half back line, which is really what they need to be able to get some good separation for their forwards, to be able to get off their defenders and have some easy marks. And it's something certainly they're going to have to address, but cannot fault the defensive effort of St Kilda. It's been fantastic from sort of halfway through that first quarter onwards.
And a great mark there from Garlett. So clever little kick off the ground there. It was possibly Swallow. And quick thinking, and this really is the only way they're going to conjure up goals, the Suns. Just have to keep moving the ball forward. Garlett came on the ground just a few minutes ago, or actually at half-time, as we said, because of that Harbrow shoulder injury.
It's been lively.
And it's going to go close, not quite, though. So chances going begging for the Suns. And they've reduced the margin from half-time by just 1 point. Savage to kick out for the Saints. Delaney. Actually unheralded former North Melbourne defender, playing in his 50th game tonight here on the Gold Coast. And Jaron Geary now for St Kilda. Set in hope for Rewalt, punched away by Thompson. Big punch, almost worth a kick, and it's bounced back in, strangely enough. Geary now. Stephen, none of the players really expecting to have to play on there. Stephen gets it back. He's starting to get a lot of the footy as well. Hits up right, been good since he's come on. In fact, the two subs there, Wright and Garlett. Wright gets away from him. going to be a free kick, in fact. Nathan Wright. Late inclusion as well into this game, and certainly earning that spot. Now, Robertson. Oh, almost a mark. Ablett doing the spoiling work. Again, an uncharacteristic fumble from Ablett. Normally so clean, and Kolodajny clears for the Suns. Miller couldn't quite take the mark. Right with him. Shenton, in fact, right with him. Big clash there. Geary sliding in. I think that was Swallow for the Suns as well. Geary, he's a tough boy, Jaron Geary.
He is. I think he might have hurt his own teammate there in Shenton, but you know, at least it's good to see the St Kilda players just absolutely crashing in there, causing a lot of pressure at those stoppage.
Miller. Swallow. May diving, almost took the mark. Dempster now. Jaron Geary again has recovered well there. In fact, might actually be... no, this is Shenton up here, and Robertson, and strangely just happier to see... Might actually be some cramp there. Happy to just see the ball over.
He's been working hard, that half-back line, and it was telling statistic at the moment. I mentioned a little bit earlier, but the marks at the moment, 68 to St Kilda and just 27 to the Gold Coast Suns, and that is an absolutely reflection of how each team's moving the ball, and St Kilda are a lot more effective at the moment. Riscatelli looks inside to pop it inside 50. Maybe this is a chance for the Suns to get a contested mark. What can Lynch do? Quite enough. Fisher are good enough to get the spoil, and St Kilda will start play again, but the Suns just really need to get that effective ball movement happening.
27 marks in almost 3 quarters. That's extraordinary. Certainly not AFL level stats there. Plenty for Rodney Eade to work on with his charges during the week, that's for sure. Saints looking comfortable at the moment, just a few minutes out from the last break. Smith and Longer starting to look tired. Riscatelli pulled off it almost by Stephen. Nothing coming. Garlett pulled off it. 5 or 6 Saints around it. They've just always got more numbers around the ball. Working harder this time, though. It's going to be a Gold Coast free kick to Garlett. It's Jared Garlett. And over the top, a chance here for May. And he's missed it again. Well, when you're not on, you're really not on, as Stephen May's finding out tonight.
It's a disappointing miss.
They have kicked 6 behinds in this quarter. 1 goal, 6 for the quarter to the Saints 1-3. So really a chance to at least work their way somewhat back into this game. And just too many misses. As Wright flies high. Now Broaden not that keen on keeping the ball in play.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and especially with the inside 50s at the moment as well. St Kilda 41 to 27 to the Gold Coast Suns. So the Suns just not getting as many opportunities, and when they are getting the opportunities, they're not making the most of them. So they're making it hard for themselves at the moment. We've got 2.5 minutes left in this quarter to try and make amends, and then they'll go to another break and restart. But St Kilda certainly have done a lot of fantastic work so far, and perhaps it might be enough already.
Yep, as the Suns reload through. Adam Sard gives them some pace. Oh, here's a chance. Prestia, or Lemons rather, must goal, and it's just not even going to go close. Well, and it had May all alone as well, so that passage of play really tells you the story of the night. Rodney Eade knows it all too well. So Delaney to do the kicking out duties for St Kilda. Goes for distance. Backs his teammate. Smith over the top, though, for Gold Coast. Billings now. Been a little quiet, actually. Not a good kick either. Looking for Stephen. Kolodajny will get the free kick for the Suns. Kolodajny was pick 5 in the 2013 draft, so another one of the highly rated Suns players. Martin, another highly rated youngster. Gets it to Day. Sam Day. Number 12 looks to play on, finds Garlett.
Again, St Kilda have just blocked up their run here. Suns have got no open players to get to. Have another long kick down the line to a contest, and well,
flying high and giving away a free kick.
It was a sloppy by Lynch. Everyone knows, you put your hands in the back, you have to mark it. You're just completely off timing, and easy free kick to Longer.
And now Loney. Jack Loney, they'd be pretty happy with his progress in his first 2 games. Scarlett once again. Smith got it out to Tape. In fact, it was Hallahan to Tape. And now Lynch finally manages to hold one. So desperate for a goal here on three-quarter time. Well, if he kicks this, well, can never say for sure. So might just give them a little bit of a sniff. Certainly in the last 10 or 15 minutes you can feel, don't know if it's fatigue, but the Suns, for the first time in the game, starting to really have a patch where they're on top, just not converting on a scoreboard. All important here, and once again, story of the night, misses.
Absolutely right. It's just missed opportunities at the moment for the Gold Coast Suns. They have had a bit of stronger play and more possessions over this last 5 or 7 minutes, but just not making the most of it. And yeah, we see that's the difference. The St Kilda captain, Revolt, making his way all the way up into his defensive 50, working his backside off to get possessions for his side and provide a target, and the Suns forwards just haven't been able to do that so far. Players converge close to the boundary line and we'll have another stoppage. As we look up the other end, that's the man of the moment, certainly at the moment, Josh Bruce with Sam Day. So he's had 4 different opponents today, Josh Bruce, such as his impact on the game been. And Alan Richardson will be extremely happy with another fine to have a tall forward to support his big skipper in Revolt. Three-quarter time siren goes.
Yep, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after a short break with the final quarter of this round 2 clash between Gold Coast and St Kilda from Metricon Stadium.
Certainly in St Kilda's favour. Again, there's not much difference there, but the inside 50s have been absolutely huge, and St Kilda's certainly been driving the ball inside their own forward half much more. And interestingly, every single one of their 13 goals has been launched from the midfield zone between end to end. So they've been having a really good ability to be able to chop the ball off when the Gold Coast try and turn the ball out of half back. And that's been, I think, the difference. It's been the St Kilda half back line which has caused the Gold Coast to turn the ball over, and then the St Kilda Suns just absolutely yo-yo it back with pace. As we have a look at some disposals, certainly of David Armitage, has been the premier midfielder for St Kilda. A lot of his work is in and under the stoppages, and you see he's got 20 handballs there, and he might not necessarily be the flashiest player or kick the ball that often, but he's certainly a little bit of that sort of Lenny Hayes mould, and he's that grunt work player in and under, which St Kilda really need, especially with some young midfielders around him in Dunstan and Billings and players of that ilk. David Armitage is now a senior player in the St Kilda side, and it's great to see him leading from the front today. Interesting that Billy Longa's certainly got his hands on the ball a lot more in the ruck contest, and the hit-outs have certainly been in his favour, but the Suns have been winning the clearances. So as we've seen, Matthew Primus, the ex-Port Adelaide captain and coach, joined Gold Coast earlier this year. He's been working with the ruck and the midfield area, but they're certainly struggling there at the moment. But we see Gary Ablett again move towards that forward position. So that's 4 quarters he started in the forward line rather than the midfield. It's interesting, that shoulder can't be right, I don't think, for him to be not getting in and doing the grunt work in the midfield. But as we've said all along today, this season is all about the Gold Coast youngsters really making their mark on the competition, and they've certainly had a bumpy start to that road, but we can't wait on Gary Ablett to do it all for them. And I've been impressed with Jack Martin, who has made amends for some of his other teammates not quite making it, but St Kilda certainly with much of the advantage today as we start this 4th quarter.
Yep, Smith gets a tap down teammate wrapped up straight away by Jack Stephen. Teammate there was Mitch Hallahan. So Smith and Longa once again. Oh, this time 3rd man up, Swallow. Bennell looking to lift his teammates. Oh, good mark almost from May. Couldn't quite grab it down. Savage now back to Dempster. Saints clean up as they've done so often on the night. Hits up Stephen. Has a teammate running there for him. Goes to him quickly. Might be Billings there, and it's cut off by Broughton. Yes. So Greg Broughton off to Prestia. Bennell once again starting to get busy in the middle. Looks for Martin. Good mark along the right with him. Martin peels off on his wrong foot. And Lynch, well, if you kick it to them often enough, they'll take a grab, but not this time. Nunes gave it back to Jack Stephen. Overcooked it a little bit, doesn't matter, comes off for Shane Savage. Has Curran now, the youngster. Oh, he's gone. He might almost have kicked that. No, Bruce. Well, and Bruce kicks number 6 for Josh Bruce.
Amazing work from Bruce again. A one-on-one contested mark, just metres from the goal line. He is having an absolutely hot day. Fantastic skill from him. Saw Curran almost managed to pop it through from outside 50, but Josh Bruce, when you're having a good day, sometimes things just keep rolling for you, Nadav, and he is definitely having a hot night up here in the Gold Coast.
And could this be the return of the big forward that we've been missing for 10 or 15 years from our game? We had Taylor Walker kick 6 last week. Josh Kennedy kicked 10 last night for the Eagles against the Blues. And now Josh Bruce with 6. So plenty of players on track to make an impact.
Well, that's certainly a good point. Some of your sport for choice in the early 90s with players like Tony Modger, Gary Ablett Senior, these type of players, which the fans really love to get around. And certainly a big Tex Walker for the Adelaide Crows is a big fan favourite in Adelaide, and Josh Kennedy the same in the West Coast. And Josh Bruce, I think, with his the long ponytail and the high-flying marks, he might just be the new St Kilda marquee man, and that's despite them picking up Paddy McCartan with their #1 draft pick, who's had a bit of fanfare around him as well. But being a youngster, he'll take a couple of years to improve, and Joshy Bruce is definitely up and about moment for the St Kilda Saints, and certainly helping Nick Riewoldt out as well.
Bruce and McCartan could be something to look forward to over the next decade or so for Saints fans. And Dunstan, and if Dunstan and his mates Billings and Nunes and a couple of those other guys in the midfield really fulfill their potential, then their stay down at the bottom might not be as long as most of us would have thought. Malcheski, normally a good kick from this sort of distance. And even he seems to be having trouble today with his kicking. The mark is taken between back pocket and half back by Fisher. There's Sam Fisher back to Shenton. Savage. Not many options. Now Delaney goes up. Lynch over the top of him. Ablett gets a touch. Koladajny, Saad, cut off again. Sinclair, Billings, Weller coming through now. Dunstan gives Geary running with the flight of the ball, managed to mark it in front of Broughton. Riewoldt,
great kick, fantastic kick there. Saw Riewoldt moving, popped it out in front of him, and in the end it was an easy mark for Riewoldt. Some great vision there from the cameraman. You could see Bruce running, darting left and right. You could see Riewoldt running back and forth. Some really nice movement from the St Kilda forwards, which just allowed them to get away from their Gold Coast defenders. It's always very hard to defend someone who's constantly on the move, and Riewoldt's been one of the best at it for over 10 years now. And he's an absolute superstar, and certainly from today it looks like he's been giving Josh Bruce a bit of a handy help over the summer as well, because his impact's certainly been felt today. But great to see Riewoldt getting on the scoreboard again as he slots through another, and this lead to St Kilda just keeps blowing out. They are having an absolutely fantastic night here up at Metricon Stadium. And as you mentioned, a nice little homecoming for the Queenslander Nick Riewoldt tonight.
Yeah, one of Queensland's finest. One of 2 great Queensland forwards produced. Of course, the other one was the other great forward from the 90s, Jason Dunstall.
Yeah, very interestingly, and a bit of a cross-sporting bit of trivia this week, has just been named chairman of the Melbourne Renegades 2020 cricket team in the Big Bash League, which has just finished in Australia at the moment. But for next year, Melbourne Renegades have signed up an ex-Aussie Rules star as their chairman. He does have some administrative qualities, having been on the Hawthorn board previously, and obviously a commentator for Australian Rules football as well. But good to see him making his mark in another sport, which might be not as familiar with some of our European viewers, but certainly makes a lot of news back home in Australia, with the team having just won the ICC World Cup.
Dunstall kicked 11 or 1,200 odd goals for the Hawks as well. One of 5 players to have kicked 1,000 goals. It's Malcheski. Oh, overhit that as well. Right, coming in, tackled Hallahan. Riscatelli now. Still racking up the possessions in the final quarter. Dempster gets back. Good mark. Too tall for Martin. Here's Sean Dempster. Finds Armitage. Oh, not a good kick off the boot there, in fact. Strange that was actually called... It has touched over the line because it looked like Curran took it over the line, so surely either in play or out of bounds on the full as Smith wins it, this time over Longer, and now Curran gets in there again. Oh, Longer, it's a long way down from there, from 2 metres odd up, as Riscatelli swings a kick around. Now coming through Robertson, Dunstan, Armitage, and the ball ends up with Stephen there. Jack Stephen. Back to Curran, who the man he got it from. Pops it up. Oh, Loney, good mark going back against his fellow second gamer in Adam Sard. Loney, very, very impressive today, it must be said. Oh, probably said that a couple of seconds too early, and done Bruce no favours as Josh Bruce searches for a career best 7 goals.
No, he's certainly right. Despite that kick, I've been very impressed with young Jack Loney. He's just his second game of AFL football. Came in, drafted, and straight away has made an impact over the summer for them, and getting game time early, that will do his confidence no harm at all. And great to see him get on the scoreboard today with his first goal, and certainly with some handy possessions on that left foot as well.
And still winning the 50-50 contest everywhere. The Saints at set up. Rewalt, he finds once again Loney looking to make amends for that last one. Oh, he has. Good kick. No, well done Garlett, cutting across in front of Membry. And Koladajny clears. Oh, again, Thompson just dropping the mark. Well, that's something for them to work at on a training during the week. Hallahan now, Tape. Tape, no one to go to. Pops it up instead, and finally the mark taken by Lynch. So, Tom Lynch has kicked 1 for the night in the second quarter. Just the 2 goals, by the way, since quarter time for the Suns. Lynch, a couple of other opportunities as well today. 1 goal, 2 in fact. So we'll be looking to be a bit more accurate this time around, Tom Lynch. Straight in front, 45 out. And this time he makes no mistake.
Nice kick by Lynch there, but a dejected Rodney Eade looks on as it's a little bit too late for Gold Coast to be able to peg back this lead. It was a nice movement. Sexton just backed himself, ran with the ball. A nice forward hand pass there to Tape. And it was a smart kick. Lynch well in front of his opponent there, and a nice finish. So happy for him to get another one on the scoreboard, but it has been a bit of a dark night for the Kilda, apologies for the Gold Coast forwards. 7 disposals, but 5 clangers for Tom Lynch tonight. So it just hasn't quite been as clean as he needs to be at this level.
So 2 goals and 5 clangers means if he hasn't kicked a goal, he's basically messed it up. As Nunes takes the ball just behind centre wing for St Kilda, and now Savage. Nathan Wright, the sub.
It's been handy, right? Come back in from an injury and straight away back to make an impact and straight back into the team.
So Gold Coast, as we see their next 4 games there, well, the next one is going to be really tough. The Cats in Geelong, never an easy task. Cats, of course, coming off a round 1 loss against Hawthorn, but given their performance so far, that's not going to be an easy one. They managed to clear it. Once again, cut off right again in front of Miller. Billings staying to get amongst it. Nunes. Stephen. Pops it up looking for Longer or Bruce or Membry. Membry was the one who got the touch. Now back down to Loney again. Very lively there. Sard, though, did well. Gets past Keary. Handball Manages to find Thompson now, some run. Lynch, Malcheski. Well, this is really where they're breaking down, though. Saints just so much pressure. Delaney, Nunes, over the top. Here we go through Billings again. Now Fisher. Couldn't quite gather it cleanly. Garlett leaves it for his teammate in Martin. Very smooth mover there, Jack Martin. Jared Garlett now. Nice kick. Oh, Lynch has just managed to shrug his opponent. Should kick his third. And does. A bit of a run on now for the Suns.
Yeah, nice finish by Lynch there. Just managed to have the wherewithal to shrug off Delaney, who just lost touch, and nice bit of movement from the big man to be able to step inside and under a bit of pressure be able to finish the goal. Nice kick there from Garlett. But a bit of a mistake there from Delaney, just letting his opponent get inside him, and a forward loves those ones running straight into goal.
Smith, tireless work today. This time loses it out to Longer. Stephen with the clearance. Rewalt couldn't gather. Falls down to Broaden. Uses May. Now the captain in Ablett. Well, his target was Garlett, but it's Nathan Wright again. Very impressive. Takes the mark. Well, he's overkicked that as well a bit. It's going to fall to Bennell maybe, or Malcheski. Malcheski should use him now. No, doesn't. Goes forward instead. It's only as far as Sinclair. Malcheski doing the follow-up work. Dempster now hands and knees for St Kilda. Shenton tackled immediately. Oh, could be in a bit of trouble there, Shenton. No. Jack Martin, it was there with the Suns, for the Suns with the tackle. Quick ball up. Third man up, Swallow. Prestia, can he kick the Suns third in a row? Yes!
What a goal from Prestia. We've seen him kick a snap on his left foot in the third quarter, and there he's just kicked a fantastic check side on the run on his right foot. He's a classy individual, Dion Prestia, the highest possession getter on the ground for, well, apologies, behind Riscatelli, but certainly been making sure that every one of his possessions count tonight. He's had 25 now and 2 classy goals, but not quite enough so far for the Gold Coast Suns, but certainly showing his skill there. That's a very difficult kick to execute, and he's managed to pop it off with not too much problem at all.
And the Saints tired, or the Suns actually rediscovering, well, what everybody expected them to do in season 2015?
Difficult to tell, but I'll tell you what, all that counts is the early running and the strong goals, and St Kilda have certainly got enough on the board, I think, to wrap this one up. But it's hard to keep up the intensity that they have had for the entire game, and you might expect the Gold Coast to come home hard with the home ground advantage, but the Saints have certainly been impressive for the majority of this game, and it's been this run off half-back, as we see Dempster providing, that has really set everything up for them. And you see Bruce, I don't understand how he had 20 metres by himself there, but couldn't quite take the mark.
You'd think they'd man up on him by this stage as tape clears for the Suns. Now, Lynch feeds it out again, and Bennell, what can he do? Oh, good handball, almost no look to Broaden. Did it almost, certainly him into a bit of trouble though, as Garlett gets it to Swallow. Bennell again.
Great pressure from St Kilda.
Yeah, absolutely. Gets the handball away though as Swallow puts them forward. Well, they're a chance here for another one. Martin, who will be better at the fall of the ball. Shenton leads him to it. Oh, manages to hold him off, and Martin almost a little kick. Almost out on the full there, but, well, maybe umpire's vision obscured as see Broaden give on there to the face of David Armitage, the St Kilda midfielder. The old don't argue.
Jack Martin again on screen. I mentioned him. I have been impressed with him today. His disposal efficiency has been right up there for the Suns, as we see Riscatelli have a flying shot at goal.
Lynch keeping it in. Garlett, quick thinking, bends it around. Oh, almost. Well, that would have brought them in with a bit of a chance of making a late comeback here, but as it is, 35 points still the difference. Garlett has done enough to warrant selection, one would think. As a small forward next week against the Cats, as Armitage marks it in front of Tuke Miller.
It has been lively, Garlett. It's been a handy sub since Harbrow had to get taken off at half-time with a shoulder injury. Shame for him in such an important game for him. But I think Garlett has been pretty lively, provided them with a bit of speed. Not a huge number of possessions, but certainly in that small forward role, the tackling pressure that he's been able to provide has been fantastic, as we see Wright show a little bit of dash off the wing. Another sub who's certainly made an impact since he's come on.
Membry going back with it, couldn't quite control it. Tape now in front of a couple of Saints and gets distance and finds Ablett. What can he do here against Billings? Oh, ever so good Ablett, but Billings right with him. Still Ablett, very hard to bring down in a tackle, mind you. Gets it down to Tuke Miller, looking for Malcheski. Didn't really do him any favours. He's going to bounce for the Saints player here, and Sinclair, and now Dunstan comes up with it. Lemons trying to chase him, brings him down. Not quite sure if Dunstan had the footy. Umpire says he did have possession, and Lemons is going to get the free kick, gives it off to Broaden, fumbles, Rewalt right with him. Now, Stephen May.
May on his left foot, just pops it into Garlett. Good view of the Gold Coast forward line here. Garlett drives it long inside 50. Lynch is going to have a fly, but won't quite get there. Martin, second bite of the cherry.
Almost threw it out, Bennell. Tariskatelli. Back across the face of goal and nobody there. Not sure who he was looking for. Probably hoping one of the Suns' big men would be there as Dempster cleans up. Jack Nunes.
Swallow looks to be in a little bit of trouble here. We just saw a shot of him earlier coming off some attention. Some sort of leg injury. So 24 possessions for David Swallow today. It's been handy.
So the Saints just mess up that defensive effort, and Bennell has a clear path towards Mitch Hallahan. And the Suns fans starting to find some voice. Good to see them sticking around. Must say a little worrying to see that in year 5 they're struggling to get full houses. Maybe a bit more of an expectation that they'll start winning by this stage, but certainly good to see that they've built up a loyal fan base that does stick around to the very end. It's Mitch Hallahan.
I think you're right. For our European viewers who may not know, the Gold Coast not traditionally an Aussie rules powerhouse, as we see Mitch Hallahan slot through that goal, but the Gold Coast and Queensland traditionally more of a rugby background with their locals, and the AFL made a big drive into Queensland by starting up this team, the Gold Coast Suns, and along with the Brisbane Lions, they are trying to lift the reputation and the popularity of AFL football in Queensland, and Gold Coast have certainly been a part of that. They do have a proud sporting history as an area. The Gold Coast going to be the host venue of the Commonwealth Games in 2018, which will be a great event for Australia. But certainly in terms of fuel AFL football, the Suns now, they've had 5 years to build. They had a lot of draft concessions. They had some financial boosting from the AFL as well, and it is time for them to really make an impact on the AFL Premiership ladder. But unfortunately, as at round 2, 2015, they're struggling to do that, and certainly with their first 8 weeks, they play only one opponent who played in the 2014 final series. So you would think they would have hoped to have penciled a few wins in, but currently they might be zipping 2 and heading down to Geelong next week, as you mentioned, Adav. It's going to be a tough assignment for them. Yeah,
Geelong being our one finals opponent, of course, from last year, as Ablett leads Savage to the ball. Savage 22 touches, by the way, for the Saints, one of their better performers today. In fact, he's had one more touch than Ablett. Not often those two would have been on the same ground, and Savage ending up with more than Ablett. Smith in front this time. Ablett and Geary there, and Longer bending down for it. Risk it. Oh, in fact, it's Bennell who picks it up for the Suns. Gets a hurried kick out, just hoping for something. Sexton with the intercept. Oh, very well done. Almost surely threw it out there to Swallow. Nothing coming. Wright takes Swallow over the boundary line, and well, at least a positive for the Suns is certainly this finish, their best quarter for the year by a fair stretch, and they'll be hoping to take that form through to next week, as we see St Kilda tough game next week, Friday night against Collingwood, who are also 1-1. So they'll also be looking to carry their form through for today, from today to next week, as Stephen and now Hallahan and Lemons finally the one who managed to get his hands on it. Garlett was set up by Kolodajny, and dare I say it, they're less than 4 goals down with less than 6 minutes left.
The momentum certainly swung to the Gold Coast advantage at the moment, and it is some of those younger players that are really popping up here in Garlett and Jack Martin again. We've mentioned him a few times today, but Fantastic finish. Again, it's from a stoppage where they set up, and that's certainly been their advantage today. It's the stoppage work has been the one clear favourable statistic for the Gold Coast team, and it was a fantastic handball out. Some really smart work there at the bottom of the pack, and Garlett very happy with that. You can hear the Gold Coast fans really starting to get behind the team.
Are they any chance of winning this from here?
You never want to rule them out. It might be shown up by calling a little bit earlier, but it's fantastic effort here from the Suns as they try and win this clearance again. Stephen gets a fist on it.
May is going to clean up, so... Oh, no. Bruce, though, forcing Kilda. Armitage. So the Saints do go forward. They're hoping for a sealer here just to quell the Suns' momentum. Not coming as Saad runs away. Oh, gutsy stuff there, running away from Loney. Loney not so slow himself, but Saad certainly the quicker of the two. Exciting stuff. Really making an impression there as a...
They're up and about here, the Suns.
Yeah, he is. He's messed it up this time, though, and Savage was that high. Well, Smith just a bit too tall there to be able to make a good tackle, and Saad got a bit overexcited at his passage of play, but certainly impressive stuff from the youngster as Rewalt finds Jack Stephen.
Looks a bit sore after that, Saad. Slight limp. Exciting run, though, but St Kilda drive it in. Smith comes in to help out.
Now Hallahan through traffic. Saad again. Martin, Malcheski, full of run. What can they do here? Malcheski puts them to true centre half forward for Bennell to run onto it. He's got the pace to get away. Oh, no, not quite.
Surely
was he tripped? Was he tripped? The umpire says yes. And unbelievably, they could be looking at their 6th straight goal in 15 minutes. And at this pace, Saints might be in some strife. Well,
it's the quick play that we see. We see the replay, a clear trip by Sean Dempster. And really lucky not to do some damage to Bennell's ankle there, but it's the fast play that the Suns have all of a sudden brought out. We saw Malcheski really just quick kick ahead of a player and allow Bennell to run onto it, not try and kick it up to a mark. And he's going to line up here.
Oh,
to the side.
Well, can't afford to do that at this stage. Should have done better with that, Harley Bennell. You can see the frustration on Rodney Eads' face. And that's the sort of thing that just might take the sting out of them. They really need to do everything right at this stage to have a chance of grabbing the 4 premiership points, of stealing the 4 premiership points from St Kilda.
It's a shame. They've kicked a lot of points so far tonight, not just in this quarter, but it does burst the bubble a little bit and really ruins a lot of the forward movement, but still with a chance. 4 minutes.
More scoring shots as well. 26 scoring shots to 23 for the Suns, so just shows same amount of opportunities, but not doing the right thing with them as Weller, not a noted goal kicker. Oh, too easy though, set up for is that Sinclair, and Sinclair has kicked his 2nd goal for the night, and in doing so has almost certainly iced the Saints' 1st victory of the year.
Yeah, we just see Saad on Sinclair there, and it's a bit of a show for the youngster. Saad really blowing hard after that dashing run out of the half-back line 2 minutes ago, and he just was not close enough to his opponent there. And Sinclair, that's an easy goal and a disappointing finish to the Gold Coast effort. But Sinclair, 17 possessions and 2 goals in his 2nd goal. That's fantastic. Good to see David Armitage barking instructions there. As we said, the senior midfielder for the St Kilda team, especially with the retirement of Lenny Hayes last year, who was an absolute champion of the club. And Armitage with 32 possessions, 7 clearances. Fantastic effort from him, leading the charge out of the midfield for St Kilda.
You see Prestia calling the charges there, so perhaps a future captaincy role for him. Of course, Ablett is back there in the midfield and pack forms. Crowd still trying to lift the Suns, which is good to see. As you can hear there at home, Bennell, Ablett. Ablett trying to do something for them. Martin couldn't quite come down with it as Fisher. It's going to be marked by tape. Oh, not called, must have been touched off the boot. Lynch couldn't mark it. Bennell normally clean with it. Delaney got in his way, out of bounds. Harley Bennell and he had one of the better games for the Suns tonight. So Thompson now doing the racking there. Bennell is round the body, just in hope. First to it is Fisher, couldn't mark it. Tackled straight away by Lynch. Under the pack there as well, Garlett. Nathan Wright with him. Umpire will call for a ball up.
Great to see Sam Fisher there. He's had a fantastic night on his 200th. It's an away game, so not quite as much fanfare that he might have got if he was back playing at home in Melbourne, but fantastic to see a stalwart of the St Kilda Football Club, 32 years old, the oldest player on their list. He's had a tough time for the last 3 years, but to come back from a lot of injury troubles and get to 200 games, he becomes an AFL Life member, gets a ticket to every future game that he wants to go to, and he'll be remembered by the St Kilda team because we see Mitch Hallahan get a bit of attention. Looks to the ribs, which is not the way you want to finish off the game, but hopefully just a bit of bruising. He'll be right for next week.
Yeah, we saw that horrific injury last week, of course, to Brisbane champ Tommy Rockcliffe, broken ribs and a punctured lung. So not the most common of AFL injuries, but one that, while it doesn't keep you out as long as a knee, looks like it hurts more than any other injury, that's for sure.
It was. I was listening to Tom Rockcliffe speak during the week, and he said it was the worst pain he's ever experienced in his life. Regardless of football on or off the field, he said it's absolutely horrible. And it just goes to show these guys are tough athletes. They don't wear any padding, they just get on with it and they clash at high speed and play for 2 hours, and it's a fantastic sport. That's why we love it.
It's Malcheski, defensive side of the centre circle. Finds teammate there, and now Dempster's going to get back with it. Geary, almost a torpedo out of defence, looking for, that's a torpedo kick, looking for Membry. Membry in the end comes up with the footy, and now Nunes, Armitage, hard up against the boundary line. Ablett close to him, marked by Jack Nunes at centre wing for St Kilda. So we see Hallahan going, well, he looks to be in a lot of pain, Mitch Hallahan there with the Gold Coast trainer. And like Jimmy Bartell last week with concussion, injuries in really red time, a minute or so left in the game. Not the sort of thing you want to see, especially when the game's over, and even more so when the game's over and your team has already lost the 4 points. Saints, of course, wanting to preserve Rewalt's fitness for next week. Big clash in 6 days against Collingwood.
Yeah, great to see Rewalt back on with an important impact in today's game. There were concerns about whether he would play this week after that whiplash injury he did receive, but fantastic to see him have an impact on the ground, and I'm sure he'd be loving this game as well, especially with the emergence of Josh Bruce. Seeing another tall forward, Rewalt will be extremely happy if he can get the second defender every now and then to allow him to release and get a bit more of the footy. It can only help the side. So smart move by Richardson bringing him off just to let him rest up and not risk getting injured in this last minute of the game, and he can bask in glory from the win.
The game is still fierce, though. Still some fierce tackling as Saad bounces, obviously loves a bounce, and cut off by Delaney. Lynch in there for the Gold Coast. A little soccer kick off the ground to his advantage. Dempster did well to get back, though. Delaney as well. Now Miller. So Suns still searching for one more goal just to end the game on a positive note. Might not be coming. Might be tough from here. Saints should get to the ball first through Stephen in front of Colin Dajny. Cleans it up. That'll be it. A surprise victory for St Kilda here today on the Gold Coast. Nobody really rated them with much of a chance, and Josh Bruce there, 6 goals. The top goal scorer for the game. Zach Smith on screen in the Suns with a lot to work on leading into next week's game in Geelong. But for the Saints, certainly one to savour.
Yeah, fantastic win for St Kilda. Their first win away for 13 games, so fantastic for them to be on the winners' table for the first time in 2015.